It's Titans trade mailbag time. Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports coming at you here with today's show. And let me just be upfront with y'all. I love what I do here, and I love creating content, but these shows specifically really show why Chat Sports is a lot different than a lot of other YouTube channels out there, because this gives the audience a chance to get your ideas on here, and then we can debate about it, we can talk about it down in the comments. So if you're a diehard Titans fan, you love talking to your friends, your family about sports, Titans football, whatever it need be, that's what this channel here is all about. So if you love the Titans, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. So the first thing we're going to be looking at here for Tennessee is their wide receiver depth chart, because one of the biggest, we'll say, issue/discussion points this offseason is the wide receiver room better or is it worse? I like Robert Woods a lot. Treylon Burks is a receiver that I like a lot. You know what, though? He's dealing with some asthma, which personally I think is a little bit overblown at this time of the year. And then you got Des Fitzpatrick, who's okay. Nick Westbrook, who's okay as well. But you lost Julio, you lost A.J. Brown, and there's a lot of people wondering and worried about the Titans receiving option. So be honest with me, and I want every person that comes across this video today to just be honest with yourself and be honest with me. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Do the Titans need another wide receiver? The first trade coming up here is from Weston Hunter, and the Titans receive DK Metcalf. Seattle ends up getting a first and a third round pick. If you're wondering what type of value this is, Weston, off the top, well, it's the same value as the A.J. Brown trade. So I do think that A.J. and DK have very similar paths, both very talented players, both very physically gifted athletes. Here's the thing, though. Usually when a player gets a new contract, sometimes they're going to be the highest paid wide receiver. I don't see that happening because DK's good, 24 years old, but there's no way in hell I'm giving him more than DeAndre Hopkins. No way in hell I'm giving him more than Devontae Adams or Tyreek Hill. So the number you're looking at here is between A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, and DeAndre Hopkins. The only reason why I'm probably not going to go ahead and make this deal here is because DK's a vertical receiver. That's not what I think fits best for Ryan Tannehill. On top of that, if Seattle actually calls DK's bluff and says, no, man, we're not going to give you this monster extension and they're going to make him play it out, I actually think DK's value is going to go down dramatically once he becomes a free agent next offseason. Because, call me crazy, Russell Wilson's a better quarterback than Drew Lock, better quarterback than Geno Smith. I'm not 100% sure who ends up throwing the ball to DK, but his numbers go down. So I think for a lot of NFL teams out there, they know that, they understand that. So why am I going to go ahead and give a first-round pick and then pay him, $26 million a year? It's a hard pass for me, dog. Let's go to the next trade coming in here from Mark Jones. More wide receivers. Okay. Titans get Deebo Samuel. The 49ers get a first-round pick. If this is all it took to get Deebo Samuel, this is one I would absolutely do. Here's the issue. Not enough. If you're going to go up a first and a third for DK, I would rather have Deebo Samuel than DK. Personally, I think Deebo Samuel is worth more to an offense than DK Metcalf. So with all that being said, yes, that's a deal that I would 100% get done. With all the reports that continue to come out around Samuel, you're going to be paying for a receiver who had 77 catches, 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns. If you think that he's going to be somebody who runs between the tackles like he did last season for the 49ers, that's not going to happen. He might get the ball 1 or 2 times. They might decide on the hand on the rock. But Deebo's made it pretty damn clear that he wants to have a long career. And you have to face it, running backs don't have nearly as longevity as careers as receivers. Why? They always get hit. So you're not going to get somebody who's running the ball 60 times for 8 touchdowns on the ground. You're only going to get that receiver. And again, like we talked about DK, Deebo's not going to get Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins money. At least I personally don't believe so. I know I wouldn't give him that type of change. But he is going to see Stephon Diggs, and he is going to see A.J. Brown type of dollar bills. So who's better, y'all? After I broke both of them down, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you got to give up a first and a third round pick for both of these players, and you're essentially paying them the exact same amount. Who's better, DK Metcalf or Deebo Samuel? I'll take Deebo with DS, but if you disagree, please type DK. The next trade coming in here is from Landon Wicker, N'Keal Harry for a 7th-round pick. Yes, so far out of both the trades that I've seen, this has been by far the most realistic. On top of that, you know for a fact that Mike Vrabel, who played many years underneath New England, Bill Belichick, that regime, there's a good connection there. And N'Keal Harry, I actually think would be a pretty good fit in this offense. Yes, he has struggled as a receiver, but you know what? If I'm looking for a receiver at a 7th-round draft capital, if you will, and you're getting somebody who was drafted in the 1st round in 2019, I want somebody that can block. N'Keal Harry, one of his best traits, or probably at this point of his career, the thing that he's showed me is that he can block. He's a big, physical receiver with long arms that isn't afraid to block downfield. To me, that has a lot of value, especially in the Titans' offense. Sure, the numbers aren't great, but you know what? For a 7th-round pick, for somebody like N'Keal Harry, yeah, sign me up every single day of the week. If any of these deals end up going down, we're going to be making a video about it. If you want more free Titans videos, subscribe now. And the deal that I always throw out there is you could subscribe today, and if you don't like the content after a week, 2 weeks, a month, I usually tell people, watch it until the regular season. You can unsubscribe. It doesn't cost anything. We don't make you sign up for anything. You're already on YouTube. There's a reason you came across the channel. You want to learn more about the team. So if you're looking for weekly Titans videos, breaking news coverage, an interactive show like you're watching right now, hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free. More subs equals more videos. The next deal coming in here is around Sambo, another Seahawks trade, Tyler Lockett, and Seattle gets a 3rd and a 6th-round pick. Interesting. Well, let's first look at Tyler Lockett's numbers, and then I'll give you my opinion on what I think about this deal. So Tyler Lockett in 2021, 73 catches, 1,175 yards, 8 touchdowns, the average of 16.1. In terms of the overall deal, if I was Seattle, I would want more. I would want more for Tyler Lockett, who last season I just gave a very hefty contract. Would Lockett be a good fit in Tennessee? Yeah, probably. He'd be a good fit on a lot of teams. I think he's one of the more underappreciated receivers in the NFL, especially when you're next to the freak of nature that DK is. I would say good deal for Tennessee. Seattle, though, more than likely would say no. But here's your opportunity. If it was presented on the table, would you take it? Type T for trade, type P for pass. Would you make the 3rd and a 6th-round pick for Tyler Lockett deal? The next trade coming in here is from AK Bofa. Hopefully I pronounced that right. The Titans get Laviska Shenault. The Jacksonville Jaguars get a 3rd-round pick. Let me just say one thing off the top. It's very rare for interdivisional teams, teams that play twice against each other, to make a deal. And on top of that, I don't think you have to give up a 3rd-round pick for Laviska. I like Shenault a lot. He was a good player coming out of college, a good punt returner, good kick returner. Sure, he had some injury issues. Coming off a year, though, where he had 63 catches, 619 yards, no touchdowns. I'm sorry, the deal's way too much. I'm not giving up a 3rd-round pick for Shenault. You also have to remember, Jacksonville went ahead. They gave a stupid deal to Christian Kirk, which was 4 years, $72 million. They have Marvin Jones. They also paid Zay Jones 3 years, $30 million. So when I look at this team, I could probably say Laviska's the 4th wide receiver. And then on top of that, the draft capital and Travis Etienne, who missed last season, they drafted him, and they were putting him as a wide receiver before his injury happened. So you're talking about somebody who I can see being the 5th highest targeted player. You're not giving up a 3rd-round pick for that. If I was Tennessee, I'd offer Jacksonville a 6th, say, hey, take it or leave it. So those are some trades that you guys created, and we appreciate those deals that ended up going down. But if you're watching this video on a later date, and you're like, wait a minute, I like this video, I like this show idea, then here's your opportunity. Go down in the comments and give me a trade idea. Who knows? You might see it on a future show. The next trade coming in here is from Sam Barton. Kadarius Toney for a 3rd-round pick. I mean, I'll be honest with y'all. I came into the show, I didn't look at the trades ahead of time. Producer Jack put them all together for me. You guys must really think that the Titans need a trade for a receiver. Toney, to me, is a fun player, and New York drafted him round 1 out of Florida. Quick, twitchy dude. He does have some baggage, no doubt about that. You can ask any Giants fan. Last season didn't play all that well, had some injuries, 57 targets, 39 grabs, 420 yards. Personally, I don't think that the New York Giants end up doing it because you got a first-year head coach in Brian Daboll. They need to see what they have in Daniel Jones. If you take away Kadarius from Daniel, I could sit up here on a future Chat Sports show and be like, well, you didn't put the best situation forward for him. So this is a make-or-break year for Daniel. I'm not necessarily saying it's a make-or-break year for Brian Daboll either, but you have to put down around your quarterback. So that's a trade that I think the Giants end up saying no to. So the wide receivers that we talked about today, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, N'Keal Harry, Tyler Lockett, Laviska Shenault, and Kadarius Toney. Out of all of these wide receivers, which one would you trade for? If it's a talent standpoint and talent alone, money doesn't matter, yeah, give me Deebo Samuel. But from the trades that I saw today, the N'Keal Harry one's probably the best value. Then on top of that, the Laviska Shenault deal is one that I like. However, trading interdivisional doesn't make a lot of sense. Another deal, though, that I like was Tyler Lockett. Probably not enough, but hey, which trade would you go ahead and make?